Logan Price never expected to die on a jungle moon. His ship was just doing a patrol run, simple scan work near the outer rim. Nothing strange, nothing dangerous. Or so he thought. But then it hit him, a sudden blast. No warning, no signal. Red light flashed on his screen. His engines were on fire. The ship shook and spun through the dark void of space. He gripped the controls and tried to stay calm. "Come on, stay with me," he whispered. The planet below Kevlar Prime was not on any major maps. It was marked as high risk due to storms, strange readings, and something called unmapped life forms. Still, it was his only option. The ship broke through the clouds, smoke pouring from the rear. Logan barely pulled up before crashing through thick trees. Metal screamed as the hull tore apart, then dash impact. Everything went black. When he opened his eyes, he was half inside the wreckage, bleeding from his forehead. His suit was torn. A sharp pain burned in his side, maybe a broken rib. He pulled himself out of the ship and crawled through. Dirt and vines. The air was thick, hot, buzzing with strange insect sounds. He coughed, wiping blood from his mouth. Alive. Barely. He needed help. Fast. He activated his emergency beacon, but the display blinked, signal blocked. He was alone, or so he thought. As night came, the jungle changed. The buzzing grew louder as the trees began to glow, faint. Blue. And something moved between them. Something big. Logan sat near a small fire he'd made from scraps and dry leaves. His pulse raced. He held a flare gun close, eyes scanning the trees. A low growl came from the shadows. He stood up, heart pounding. "Stay back." A shape leaped from the trees. It's a beast, but a woman, or something close to it. She was tall, muscular, with smooth skin covered in short, patterned fur. Her eyes glowed golden. Her teeth were sharp. Chest was bare, but covered by strange beads and markings. A thick tail swayed behind her. She was wild like a beast and a queen in one body. She didn't speak. She didn't attack. She walked slowly, sniffing the air. Then, without warning, she pounced. Logan fell back, pinned under her weight. He shouted, "Wait, I'm not your enemy." But she didn't kill him. She leaned down and licked the side of his neck. A long, slow lick across his blood and sweat. Logan froze. She stared into his eyes. Her breathing was deep. Her claws rested on his chest but didn't cut. Then she stood up, gave a soft growl, almost like a pand, vanished into the jungle. Logan sat there in shock, breathing hard. What the hell was that? He had no idea that one lick would change everything. The next morning, Logan awoke to distant drums. Low, deep, and rhythmic. Jungle birds flew away. The ground shook slightly. He limped out of the wreckage, scanning the tree. Line, everything felt wrong. Then he noticed something else. No creatures came near him. No insects, no lizards. Nothing. The area around him was silent, as if something had marked him. He checked his neck. The place where she licked him had a faint glow, golden like her eyes. He didn't know her name. Didn't know what she was, but she had claimed him, and her tribe was coming. Asterisk. Logan turned to the sound of leaves moving behind him, manned glowing. Yellow eyes opened. One pair, then 5 more. They weren't animals. They were all watching him. Asterisk. Logan stood still, breath shallow, as 6 pairs of glowing eyes stared at him from the jungle shadows. The tall grass rustled. Shapes moved with. Slow grace predators that didn't rush, they didn't growl, they didn't charge. They watched him like something already claimed. The first one stepped into the clearing. It was her, the Beastgirl from the night before. Now, in daylight, she looked even more unreal. Her skin was a rich bronze tone under the fur markings, almost metallic in some spots. A necklace of bones and feathers hung between her breasts. Her claws were tipped in gold. Her eyes locked onto him, and her lips curled not in a smile. But in something close to satisfaction, she approached, never breaking eye contact. Behind her, the others followed. 3 women, all similar in size and form, wild, half-armored, in tribal beads and leather. 2 large males came last, taller, their bodies painted in thick blue stripes. Logan raised his hands, unsure if he should speak or run. "I don't want trouble," he said slowly, pointing to his broken ship. "Crash, I'm not here to fight." She stepped even closer, her nose twitched. She sniffed the air around him. Then her tongue flicked out just once and she let out a satisfied hum. She made a sharp motion with her hand. The others dropped to one knee. All of them, even the males. Logan blinked. What was happening? She stepped around him in a slow circle. Then she looked into his eyes again, pulled a clawed finger up to his cheek and traced a glowing line down to his jaw. She was marking him. Then, without warning, she grabbed his face with both hands and licked his neck again, slower this time, more firm, right over the same glowing mark. Instinct kicked in. He panicked, and without thinking, did the stupidest thing possible. He licked her back. Just a quick, awkward swipe of his tongue across her cheek, trying to show he wasn't afraid, or maybe to copy her behavior. He didn't even know why. But the moment he did it, everything changed. Gasps rose from the other beast folk. The women looked at each other. The males stood in shock. The jungle fell completely silent. Even the wind seemed to stop. She froze. Her fingers tightened on his jaw. Her eyes widened. Then she let out a low, primal growl that rolled through her chest like thunder. The other beast folk bowed their heads, again lower this time. She spun and shouted something in a guttural alien language. Then she turned back. Logan grabbed his wrist and yanked him forward. Wait, what? Logan stumbled. She was already dragging him through the jungle like a prize. She moved with strength and speed, clearing brush with her claws. Logan tried to resist, but his body was weak, still bruised from the crash. His legs barely kept up. She led him deeper into the jungle, through twisting vines and glowing plants, past stone totems carved into snarling faces. Finally, they entered a wide clearing with a massive tree at its center. Dozens of alien beast folk stood there, watching. Silently, fires burned in small pits. Skins and tools hung from branches. This was a village hidden, ancient, and alive. She pulled him to the center. A large elder stepped forward. Unlike the others, her face was painted in black and gold, and her eyes were pure silver. She looked at Logan, then at the Beastgirl, then back at Logan. A long silence passed. Then the elder growled softly and smiled. Logan didn't know what was being said, but it didn't matter. The crowd cheered. Drums began to beat. Not war drums, something slower, deeper. The Beastgirl turned to him and placed both hands on his chest. Vaisha, she said. That was her name? Then she tapped his chest. Karam Mal. He frowned. What does that mean? She leaned close. Life bonded. Logan's stomach dropped. No, wait, he said, backing up. I didn't agree to anything. I just copied you. It was survival. She tilted her head, confused by his panic. Then she looked. Hurt. Just slightly. But her eyes narrowed again. She pointed at the tribe, then at him, then back at herself. K. Mal licked once, answered once now. Together, the words were broken, learned. But the meaning was clear. He hadn't just copied her, he'd answered her. The whole village believed they were bonded now for life. He looked around. Every single alien I was watching him, not with hatred, not with fear, but with expectation. He had no idea what that bond meant. Not yet. But one thing was certain. Couldn't leave now. Not without paying the price. And she wasn't going to let him sleep alone ever again. Logan couldn't sleep that night. The jungle village was quiet, but his thoughts were loud. Lay on a soft bed of leaves and furs inside a small stone hut. Firelight flickered across the walls. He was alone at first. Then he heard the door rustle. Vasia stepped in like a shadow, silent, graceful, powerful. Her bare feet didn't make a sound on the floor. Her golden eyes found him instantly. She carried no weapon, wore only a thin wrap across her hips and a necklace that hung loosely between her firm breasts. Her toned body shimmered slightly in the firelight, damp from the jungle heat. Logan sat up. "Nervous, Vitia," he whispered. "I think this is a misunderstanding." She tilted her head, then walked closer, kneeling beside him. Her hand rested on his chest. "No misunderstanding," she said softly. He stared at her, unsure what to say. She pressed her palm against the mark on his neck, the glowing symbol that still pulsed faintly from her earlier lick. She leaned in and breathed him in slowly, as if smelling his soul. "Your scent changed," she whispered. "You answered me." Logan shook his head. "It was just a reflex. Joke, I didn't know what it meant." But she wasn't listening anymore. Instead, she pulled his hand and pressed it over her own heartbeat. It was fast, strong, deep. Then she placed her other hand over his chest and closed her eyes. "Bonded," she said again. "Now, no other may touch you, no other may take you. You are mine." Her voice was calm, but there was fire behind it, and something deeper. Fear. Love. He couldn't tell. Then she added, "Unless you reject me." Logan blinked. "Reject?" She nodded slowly. "If mate breaks bond, it breaks the soul." A pause. "Mine. And yours." He stared at her, stunned. He wasn't ready for this. He hadn't asked for this. But still, something strange stirred in his chest. Something that wasn't fear. Vasia stood up and turned her back to him. She removed the wrap around her hips and let it fall to the ground. Her back muscles flexed. Her tail swayed slowly. She looked over her shoulder and said in a soft, shaking voice, "If you are mine, take me now. Complete bond or walk away." Logan's breath caught. She wasn't forcing him. She wasn't even begging. She was offering. She was afraid. Afraid he'd leave her alone. Afraid this was all a mistake. He didn't move. Couldn't then. Vasia bent, picked up her wrap, and began to dress again slowly. "I wait," she said, "but not forever." She walked out into the night without another word. Logan didn't follow. Not yet. The next morning he awoke to loud voices and movement. Outside, he stepped out of the hut and saw the village gathered in a circle. Drums pounded slowly. Vasia stood at the center with two large male warriors. One of them, bigger than the rest, was painted in red stripes. His eyes burned with anger. He shouted something in their language, then pointed at Logan. Logan's gut twisted. Vasia turned to him. Her expression was hard, jaw tight. The male. "Challenges?" "Challenges," Logan said. "For what? Me?" He laughed once nervously. No. I'm not fighting anyone." "You must," she said. Logan looked at the male, lizzily twice his size. "I'll die." She looked at him seriously. "Then you die, mate. Or win, mate. You must stand." He couldn't believe this. It's all of this because of one lick. The male roared and charged forward. But before Logan could panic, Vasia raised a hand. She spoke. Calmly, proudly, let him choose his weapon. Everyone turned to Logan. He looked around, saw a spear, a blade, and spotted something near the wreckage of his crashed ship. He limped over and pulled a flare gun from the dirt. The male laughed. So did half the crowd. Vasia didn't. She watched, eyes burning with something deeper - trust. Logan walked into the ring. The male growled and charged. Logan didn't run. Instead, he ducked, rolled, and aimed the flare gun directly at the ground in front of the warrior's face. He fired. The flare burst in a blinding flash. The male screamed, covering his eyes. Logan rushed forward and used the butt of the gun to hit him, hard in the temple. The warrior dropped like a stone. Silence. Then cheers exploded from the crowd. Logan stood, breathing hard, heart pounding. Vasia walked to him slowly. Proudly she reached up, pressed her lips to his mark. The crowd chanted in a low, rising rhythm. Logan looked at her. "I didn't think I'd win." Vaisha smiled. "You fought like a mate." Asterisk, the victory didn't bring peace. Not yet. Logan's body ached from the fight. His hands were shaking and the flare gun was nearly useless now. But the tribe had accepted him. They roared his name or something close to it while pounding their spears into the ground. Vaisya said nothing. She only stood at his side, tall and silent. Golden eyes locked on his face as if trying to understand something he didn't say. Later that night, Fire Festival began. Alien drums echoed through the jungle trees. The air was thick with smoke, the scent of roasted meat, and glowing pollen drifting like snow from flowers overhead. Beastwomen danced in spirals, their bodies painted with oils and symbols. Some of them glanced at Logan curious, maybe hungry, but none dared step too close. He was hers. She made that clear. Vaisya stayed beside him, always touching an arm over his shoulder, a hand on his chest, fingers brushing his neck. And when he leaned too far from her, she growled low under her breath. Logan began to understand. The bond wasn't just symbolic, it was territorial, deep, animal. If anyone challenged it, there'd be blood. Still, he couldn't ignore the feeling in his chest. He wasn't trapped. He didn't feel forced. He felt wanted, more than he ever had before. The next day, Bahia took him hunting, not with weapons, but with silence. They moved through the jungle side by side, crouching in thick brush, watching. A herd of six-legged grazers with scale hides and glowing horns. Basia motioned for him to stay low. She moved like a shadow, leaping from tree to tree, tail flicking for balance. Logan watched her, amazed. She was graceful, terrifying, completely focused. She made the kill fast with a single spear and a roar that shook the ground. Then she dragged the beast back with ease, blood streaking her arms. He helped skin it. She smiled at that. Not because he was good at it, he wasn't, but because he tried. That night, as the meat cooked, she told him more in broken English. Her people, the Corel, believed in 3 kinds of bonds. Blood bond from battle pack, prompt from trust, and the rarest life bond, sealed by the exchange of scent and touch. He had answered her scent. He had accepted her body's signal, even if he hadn't known it. And when he fought and won, the bond became sacred. "Now we share breath," she said, touching her chest, then his. "My fear is yours, my joy, yours too." He looked at her face, not wild now, just a woman, honest, proud, scared in a way she'd never admit out loud, and he saw the truth. She didn't want to lose him, not just because of the bond, but because she'd chosen him. Later that night, Logan sat alone near the edge of the camp, watching the sky. Stars blinked between the trees. He missed Earth, but the ache in his chest wasn't for home. It was for something else. A sound behind him made him turn. Vaisha stood there, hair wet from the river, wearing nothing but a thin wrap and the bone necklace. Her skin glowed under the starlight. She walked over and sat beside him. They didn't speak, not at first. Then she whispered, "You still want to leave?" He didn't answer right away. "I thought I would," he said finally. "At first, I thought I needed to get back to my ship, my life, everything I left behind." She looked down. "But now," he continued, "I look around and I don't feel lost. I feel seen, like I belong somewhere." Finally, Bahia didn't smile. Instead, she moved closer. "I do not beg," she said softly, "but if you go, I break." He looked into her eyes. There was no lie there, no trick, just truth. She leaned in slowly, lips close to his. But before they touched, a loud horn blast echoed through the trees. Both of them turned sharply. Then came a second blast, higher, sharper, and then shouts. Screams. Vaisha stood fast, grabbing her spear from the ground. Logan stood too, heart racing. "What is it?" he asked. She looked toward the dark jungle and growled. "Outsiders, raiders." Then she turned to him, eyes sharp. Body ready for battle. You stay here. No, Logan said, stepping beside her. I'm coming with you. She looked at him with surprise, but didn't argue. Together, they ran toward the sound of war, asterisk as Logan sprinted through the trees. Behind Vaisha, a flash of red light exploded ahead, and the silhouette of a human-shaped figure stood in the flames. Holding a gun, Logan stopped cold. That's not one of yours, Vaisha hissed. No, he whispered. That's from Earth. Asterisk smoke curled into the jungle sky as Logan stared at the figure in the flames. It was human, or at least it used to be. The man stepped forward from the firelight. Dressed in dark armor-black plates, glowing red veins of tech, and a face hidden behind a smooth helmet. He held a plasma rifle, the barrel still glowing hot. The air around him shimmered with heat. Vaisha snarled low in her throat, crouching beside Logan with her spear raised. The warrior said nothing. Then more emerged behind him. 5-6. Maybe more. All armored like ghosts from Earth, but cold. Silent, wrong. Not soldiers, raiders. Logan stepped in front of Vaisha. She growled. No, I protect you. But he didn't move. The lead raider tilted his head. His helmet clicked. Name, Logan Price. Human, male, declared dead. Wreckage confirmed. His voice was robotic, flat, yet alive, claimed. Logan's blood ran cold. These weren't just pirates. They were retrievers, tech scavengers. Deserters who hunted crashed ships, sold living beings, and erased. Witnesses. They didn't expect Logan to be alive. And now that he was, we claimed salvage, the lead one said, and all assets linked to it. His glowing visor turned toward Vaisha. She is marked. She is yours. Now she is ours. Vaisha bared her teeth and hissed. Before Logan could speak, she charged. Her spear flew through the air, fast and straight. It struck one of the raiders in the side, slammed him against a tree. Metal screamed. The others raised their weapons. Run, Logan shouted, grabbing her arm and pulling her behind thick roots. Blasts tore through the trees. Leaves caught. Fire ground exploded near his feet. They ran through the underbrush, dodging trees and flying branches. As death lit up the jungle, they made it back to the village, but it wasn't safe anymore. Already parts of the outer wall were burning. The raiders had split their force. Fires glowed through the trees. Screams rang out. Logan and Vaisha burst into the central camp. Her warriors were already gathering. One of the older males, his arm bleeding, growled, "They come with fire and metal." "We are not ready." Logan turned to Vaisha. "What? They're not just here for scrap. They want me. They think you're part of their claim." Vaisha's eyes burned. "I am no man's property." He nodded. "Then we have to fight." "What?" Not with rage. With strategy. She stared at him. He turned to the tribe. "Fire scares them. Sound distracts. You know the land they don't. Make traps. Use the trees. Guide them into kill zones." Vaisha raised her voice. "The bonded one speaks. Listen." The warriors nodded. Logan turned to her again. "I need something sharp. A blade. A bow. Anything." She handed him a curved fang knife, bound in bone. Then she reached up, gripped the back of his head, and pressed her forehead to his. "Together," she whispered. He nodded. "Together." Night fell like a curse. The raiders came in waves, but the tribe was ready. Logan moved through the trees like a ghost, lighting flare traps with scraps from his ship. Explosions lit the forest, driving enemies into narrow paths where Vaisha's warriors struck from above. He saw her once sleeping from a tree, spear in hand, and taking down a raider in one brutal strike. She didn't stop. It was a blur of motion and fury. Logan stabbed one who wandered too close. The blade bit deep, and the armor cracked. Blood sprayed his arms. His heart raced. He wasn't a soldier, but he was fighting for her, fighting for them. Both hours passed. The battle slowed, faded. The jungle fell silent again, and then Logan saw him, the lead raider, still alive, standing near the center. Of the ruined camp, surrounded by smoke and fallen warriors, his rifle was gone. He now held a plasma blade burning bright red. He looked straight at Logan. "You caused this," the raider said. "For a primitive, for a pet?" "She's not a pet," Logan said, stepping forward. "She's your weakness," the raider replied. "You could have returned, rejoined the fleet. They would have erased your debt. Your exile, Logan's." Grip tightened on his blade. "I'm not going back," he said. The raider tilted his head. "Then you'll die here for her." Logan's voice was calm now. "No, I'll live for her." Then he ran forward, roaring. The raider rushed to meet him. Metal met flame. They clashed in the smoke and sparks, blades slashing, blood spilling. Logan was slower, weaker, but he fought with something deeper. He fought like a man who had something worth protecting, and finally he won. With one desperate strike, he drove the fang knife into the raider's chest and twisted. The enemy dropped. Logan collapsed beside him, gasping for breath. Vaisha ran to him seconds later, her hands grabbing his face. "You bleed." He smiled, coughing. "You should see the other guy." She growled and pulled him into her arms. Asterisk, as Vaisha held him close. A voice crackled from the dead raider's armor. Signal confirmed. Coordinates locked. Retrieval fleet en route. Logan's eyes widened. "They're not done," Vaisha whispered. "Then we'll make them regret coming." Asterisk, the air was still, but the firelight flickered wildly around Logan and Vaisha as they knelt by the fallen raider's body. Smoke curled up from the cracked helmet. A soft mechanical hum still came from the armor's chest plate. Its signal beacon. Blinking red, Logan reached out and pressed 2 fingers against it. The light didn't stop. Vaisha looked around, tense. More coming. He nodded. A fleet, bigger, stronger. Not scavengers, real ones. Probably military. They think I'm an asset they lost. They'll come hard. They'll come fast. She stood slowly, her arms firm around him, her tail twitching with agitation. "We fight again." Logan shook his head. "No. If they bring ships, weapons from orbit, fighting won't be enough. Not with spears. We have to outthink them." Vaisha glanced toward the sky, now glowing faint orange with the rising twin moons. "They come for you?" He hesitated. "Yes, and now, because you claimed me, they come for you too." She leaned closer, her eyes sharp. "Then they will see what we are." At dawn, the village looked like a war council. Beast folk warriors, mothers, even younglings gathered. In a tight circle, Logan stood beside Vaisha, arms crossed, wearing part of the raider's scavenged armor over his shoulder and chest. The fang knife now hung from his hip. He pointed at the blinking beacon in his hand. "They'll land here. Maybe within hours they'll scan this whole valley. If they find us, they'll wipe us out." An older warrior spat into the dirt, "and we die with pride." Logan shook his head. "No, we don't die. It's not if we make them believe we're not worth attacking." Confused murmurs spread through the crowd. Vaisha raised a hand. "Explain." Logan stepped forward, kneeling to draw in the dirt. "We fake our deaths. We burn the village. Leave this beacon beside a pile of armor, bones, fake blood. They'll see what they expect, ruins, bodies. We'll scan the heat signatures and fly off. They won't know we've moved." The tribe fell silent. One elder asked, "Where will we go?" Logan looked toward the mountains. "There's an old canyon system nearby. Deep tunnels, natural stone cover. Your scouts took me there once. We hide there for now." Vaisha studied him. "You think like a Corel." Now, he shrugged. "I think like someone who doesn't want to lose his mate." Her expression softened just a little. She stepped beside him, turned to the tribe, and shouted a single word, "Uthor Kel." The crowd responded as one, raising fists and spears. Logan didn't know the word's exact meaning, but it sounded like "we rise." Hours later, smoke filled the jungle sky on purpose this time. The village was in flames. Controlled, every hut was emptied. Every weapon moved. Every usable scrap taken into hidden paths. Logan's flare gun helped create false burn marks. Raider armor was broken and spread out to look like fallen enemies. Owns were painted, piled, and burned with herbs that stank like death. and in the center of the fire, the beacon Logan took. One last look at the fire. Let them believe I'm gone. Then they vanished into the jungle. The canyon was colder than the forest. Sharp rock walls towered over them, and wind howled through cracks like whispers. The caves within were deep and dark. The tribe moved quickly, efficiently. No fire, no noise. Inside, Logan sat beside Vasya and pulled a thermal wrap around her shoulders. She tilted her head, unused to the gesture. "You give warmth to a warrior?" she asked. He smiled. "Give warmth to the one I love." Right. Her breath caught. "Just for a second, you love me?" He nodded. "You fight for me. You risk your life. You give without asking. It's more than I've ever had. So yes, I love you." Vasya looked down, claws curling slightly. "No male of Karel has said that word to me." He took her hand. "I'm not Karel." She moved closer, resting her forehead against his. "Good," she whispered. "They could never touch my heart like you do." But peace didn't last long. Just before nightfall, one of the younger scouts came running down the canyon path, breathing hard. Logan stood. "What is it?" The scout pointed to the sky. A ship above the fire ruins. Big. Watching Logan's stomach turned. "They didn't take the bait." The scout shook his head. "Maybe," Vaishya said. "They're smarter than you guessed." He stepped outside. The cave entrance. Through the jagged rocks, he could see a dark shadow in the sky, hovering like a predator bird. Then something dropped. A glowing orb. Slow and smooth, descended to the jungle floor. It began to pulse. Logan stared at it, there. Scanning for life. Deep scan. No trickery will fool them this time. Vasya stood beside him. "What now?" He swallowed hard. "We don't run." She looked at him. He looked back. "We fight, but on our terms." Strisk from behind the mountain wall, a second ship, came into Viewslick, metallic, and bearing a symbol Vaishya didn't recognize. But Logan did. "That's a Terran war cruiser," he whispered. "Earth's military." He stepped back. "And if they find out I bonded with you, they'll take you," Vaishya said. "Worse," Logan said. "Eyes dark, they'll take you." Asterisk. Logan watched the Terran war cruiser hover above the jungle, cold and perfect. Its sleek silver hull reflected the twin moons. No marks, no names. Just quiet power. It wasn't here to rescue him. It was here to erase a mistake. He had gone missing, declared dead. But now the system had seen him. Signal from the Raider's armor had done its job. Earth's officials would want answers. And they wouldn't like what they found. Not a loyal soldier, not a hero. A man with beast blood on his neck and love in his eyes for an alien woman. In the canyon, Vaishya's tribe prepared for war. They moved without words now. Silent, sharp, focused. Spears dipped in sap. Stone bows strung. Traps laid in narrow choke points. Smoke herbs burning quietly to mask scent. Logan stood at the cliff edge. Armor half broken, the fang knife on his hip, staring up at the warship. His pulse was steady. He'd made his choice. A voice buzzed in his ear that comes crackling from a stolen Raider headset. "Logan Price, stand by. This is the Terran Union. Exit from cover. Duh. You are to be extracted immediately." Vaishya stood. Beside him, he didn't answer. The voice came again. "This is your only warning. Surrender, or your location will be considered hostile." Shh. He turned the cum off. "No more running," he said. Vasya tilted her head. "You still want me? Even if Earth sends fire?" He didn't hesitate. "I'd rather burn with you than live without you." She smiled, slow and soft, and placed a clawed hand on his chest. "Then let the stars burn." Minutes later, the drop pods landed. 3 of them sleek black, hissing steam. Out marched armored Terran soldiers. They wore the flag of Earth on their chests, but carried no pride, only orders. The lead officer removed his helmet. Colonel Rayner. Logan knew him, older now, scar on his lip, same stone-cold eyes. Rayner spoke first. "Logan, you bonded with a non-human, A beast class. Do you know what you've done? Logan stood tall. I saved her life. She saved mine. We didn't just bond. We chose each other. Rainer stepped forward. She's not human. That makes this a violation. You were military. You knew the law. She's more human than most men I served with. Rainer raised a hand. Then you'll both come with us. Quietly, Bahia stepped beside Logan, her golden eyes fixed on the colonel. I do not go in chains. Rainer didn't flinch. You won't have a choice. Logan stepped forward. You try to take her, you'll have to go through me. Rainer's hand went to his sidearm, so did Logan's. 2 clicks, 2 stares, tension in the air like lightning. Then, from the rocks above the carol struck, spears flew, bows snapped. Warriors dropped from cliffs like shadows, their bodies painted. Their eyes glowing, one of Rainer's men fired, then vanished into a pit of spikes. Another screamed as a net of vines pulled him into the trees. The ambush was perfect, controlled. Deadly Rainer single quotes as soldiers scattered, trying to regroup. But Logan didn't move. He only looked Rainer in the eyes and said, Now do you see? We're not savages. We're survivors. Rainer turned, yelling into his cum. Abort. Get us out now. Dow. But it was too late. Vaish's warriors swarmed the pods, disabling the systems with sap bombs and magnetic spears. Sparks flew. Smoke choked the clearing. Rainer fired, once missing Logan by inches. Logan didn't. His plasma bolt hit Rainer's gun, sending it flying. Then Logan charged and tackled the colonel to the ground. They wrestled. Soldier versus exiled fighter. Rainer punched hard, but Logan was faster, sharper, wilder. He slammed the colonel's head against a stone and stood up. Chest heaving, Rainer groaned, barely conscious. You should have left me dead, Logan said. By nightfall, the pods were stripped. The soldiers were gone, some fled, some captured. One buried. Vaisha stood at Logan's side as her tribe lit fires in a circle. They didn't cheer. They didn't dance. They simply watched the stars. Logan looked up too, hand wrapped in hers. They'll send more, she said softly. He nodded. Let them. She turned to him. What now? He smiled. We rebuild. And if they ever come again, I'll find out what happens when you threaten something worth fighting for. Vaisia pressed her forehead to his. I knew from the first. Lick, she whispered. You were mine. He laughed. Yeah. I just didn't know I was yours yet. Months later, in the deep caves of Kavala Prime, the Carol village thrived. They had new defenses, new leadership, new blood, and at the center of it, all Ogon and Vaisha. Side by side, mates in every way that mattered. No more hiding, no more running, just fire love. In the jungle sky, final line, HFY punch. In a galaxy where humans were feared for their firepower. It was one human's loyalty that changed everything, not through war, but by answering a single lick. With love.